This is AS Stats. We're in Unit 4 Probability and we're looking at independent and dependent events. If the occurrence or non-occurrence of an event A does not influence the probability of an event B, then A and B are said to be independent. For example, if you get a tail on the first throw of a coin, this does not affect the probability that you get a tail on the second throw of a coin. So our rule here is if they are independent, and this isn't particularly intuitive, it's really quite tough. I'm actually going to provide a wee link to another YouTube video here which kind of explains a wee bit more about independence, because you kind of think it's obvious, but it's really hard to prove sometimes, or kind of show that things are independent. But here's your rule, and this is your kind of hard and fast rule. If it's independent, then the probability of A and B is equal to the probability of A multiplied by the probability of B. So the deal is, if you have the two events and the probability of A and B equals the probability of A multiplied the probability of B, then it's independent. Alright? Sometimes if you're asked to prove it, it just will justify as well, so at least one show independent, etc., or justify that it's independent. This here is sometimes known then as the multiplication rule for independent events. Obviously, if you're asked to prove that A and B are independent, you need to show that the probability of A and B equals the probability of A multiplied by the probability of B. You'd think a wiser man than me would have read along rather than kind of knowing this. This is known as a multiplication rule for independent events. This multiplication rule can be extended to more than two independent events. If there are three independent events, A, B, and C, you multiply the three probabilities. If events depend on each other, then these events are said to be conditional. A conditional question can sometimes be recognized if the word given is in it. We will cover this in a lot more detail next year. Conditional probability, even though you maybe did a bit of it last year in GCSE Further Maths, isn't on the AS course, it's on the A2 course. So that's why we get a bit more of it then next year. So that's where we are then with independent events. A wee example there just for this incidentally, e.g. getting an even number on a dice and getting a tail on a coin. So the probability an even and a tail equals the probability of even multiplied by the probability of a tail. Probably an even is a half multiplied by a half, which is a quarter, showing then that they're independent.